US non-farm payrolls added 139,000 jobs in May, ahead of forecasts. This is Macro Matters, and we're talking the US labour market. Job growth slowed last month as some of the uncertainty in trade policy started to drag on businesses, but not as much as expected. The headline number of 139,000 makes the labour market look pretty healthy, despite recent weakness in business sentiment. Mark Fleming is chief economist at First American. Mark, we've been hearing a lot that American businesses feel the uncertain tariff picture is making it hard to plan, but they still seem to be adding jobs at a pretty healthy rate.
That's right. Sentiment around the uncertainty is one thing, but the reality in the labor market, at least in May, it doesn't seem to be showing up that much. The headline number was right around consensus, although the majority of those job gains were in healthcare and leisure and hospitality. In fact, over 100,000 of them. So it's not necessarily equally across the entire U.S. economy, but yes, still strong.
Do you think some of this more optimistic hard data is just showing businesses have front-loaded demand before tariffs take effect, and we might see weaknesses coming further down the line?
Yes, actually, when you dig into those numbers, where there are losses is in the retail, wholesale trade, and logistics area, where sort of they're now shedding the jobs that they put on earlier on this year, front-loading against tariffs. And most economists do expect the labor market to continue to cool in the latter half of this year, in part due to tariffs. But you have to remember, these tariffs are on goods, and the U.S. economy is very largely services as well. In fact, more so services. And so it is an impact to the goods sectors of the economy and the goods-related labor parts of the economy, but that's not the entire economy.
The market seems to be betting that Fed policymakers think the two sides of its mandate are roughly in balance at the moment, and it can afford to watch and wait what happens for the next several meetings. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the FOM wait and see going on right now. This report definitely gives no incentive for them to cut this month in May. So most expectations are cuts will happen later this year. I think what's interesting is the Fed might cut for good reasons or for bad reasons, right? Good reasons would be the labor market is still strong, the economy is resilient to the tariffs in the latter half of the year, and inflation comes down, and so you're easing monetary policy because of the good news on inflation front. Alternatively, a rate cut as well, but for a bad reason would be because all of a sudden we see significant economic and labor market weakness.
What about the odds of a worst case scenario where we see that weakness in growth and also the tariffs push inflation back up?
Yes, the old stagflation question. I mean, it is true that sort of technically, when you ask economists about tariffs slow growth and increase inflation. So these are the two things that clearly are combined for stagflation. But most